In Unit 11, Part 1, we are going to look at how to write linear equations given different situations. So when we say write linear equations, we're still talking about putting them in y equals mx plus b form, which we learned about in the last unit. So the first way we're going to do this is from when we are given a slope and a y-intercept. So the directions say write an equation in the line, the given slope and y-intercept. So this is about as easy as it's going to get. So again, our goal is to write it in y equals mx plus b form. And hopefully you remember that the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. So I'm going to write y equals, I'm going to replace m with my slope, which is 1. So 1x plus my y-intercept is -5. Now I can rewrite this as y equals x minus 5. For the second one, it says the slope is -2 and the y-intercept is 8. So I'm going to write my equation. Y equals, I'm going to replace m with my slope, which is -2. So -2x plus 8, and I'm done there. The second way we're going to look at writing equations is when we're given a graph. So remember, we want y equals mx plus b form, so we need two things. We need our slope, and we need our y-intercept. It's most likely going to be easier to start with your y-intercept. So remember, we're looking for where this line crosses the y-intercept or the y-axis, which is going to be right here. So that's down 1, 2, 3. So our y-intercept is -3. The next thing we need to do is find our slope. They give us 2 points, so we could use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or we could just count the rise over the run. So to count the rise over the run, I'm going to start with my point that's further to the left, which is -3, 0. So I know that I need to go down 1, 2, 3, and then I need to go over 1, 2, 3. So my slope in that case is -3 over 3, which simplifies to -1. So now I need to put this into y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to replace the m with -1 and the b with -3. Now, as I showed you earlier, I can drop off the 1. I'll just have -x minus 3. Looking over at number 2, again, I want to start by finding my y-intercept. So this line crosses the y-axis right here. So I know that my y-intercept is going to be -1. Then I also want to figure out what my slope is. So I go from the point on the left to the point on the right. So I'm going to go from 0, -1 to 1, 2. To do that, I have to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So my slope is 3 over 1, or just 3. So now putting it in y equals mx plus b form, I'll get y equals 3x plus -1, which I can just rewrite as y equals 3x minus 1. Alright, next up we're going to look at how to write an equation when we're given 2 points. It says write an equation of the line through the given points. Again, we need a slope and we need the y-intercept. Since we don't have a graph for the slope, we're going to have to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when I plug those in, I'm going to do 4 minus 6 over 1 minus 0, which is -2 over 1. So my slope is going to be -2. Then I also need my y-intercept, which I can tell is going to be 6 because the x value is 0. Remember, when the x is 0, that's where our y-intercept is. So when I put this into our equation now, y equals mx plus b, I'll have y equals -2x plus 6. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and try number 2 for this. We're finding slope first and figure out what your y-intercept is going to be. So as you can see, we've written linear equations when we were given the slope and the y-intercept. We've written them when we were given a graph, and we've written them when we're given 2 points. Now we're going to look at writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So the first one says write an equation of the line that is parallel to the line y equals -3x plus 2 and passes through the point 0, 3. So again, to write an equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form, we need to figure out what the slope is, we need to figure out what the y-intercept is. So for a parallel line, we know that they're going to have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. And looking at our original equation, our slope is the coefficient in front of the x, or the negative 3. So I know that my slope for my parallel line is also going to be negative 3. The next thing we need to figure out is the y-intercept, and they tell us that the line passes through the point 0, 3. Again, if the x is 0, then that y is our y-intercept, so our y-intercept would be positive. So now when I want to put this into my slope-intercept form equation, I'll replace m with negative 3, and I'll replace b with positive. So y equals negative 3x plus 3. On the back side, number 2 says to write an equation of the line that is perpendicular to the line y equals negative 3/4 x minus 1 and passes through the point 0, negative 7. So again, we need to figure out what our slope is, we need to figure out what our y-intercept is. If you look at the original equation, the slope is negative 3/4. Since we're doing a perpendicular line, we need the negative reciprocal. So reciprocal means I flip it to 4/3, and we want the negative reciprocal, so since it's already negative, my new slope is going to be positive. Then we need to figure out what the y-intercept is going to be. It says that the line passes through 0, negative 7, so I know my y-intercept is negative 7. So putting this in slope-intercept form, I'll have y equals 4/3x plus negative 7, or I can rewrite that y equals 4/3x minus 7. The last way that we're going to look at writing an equation is from a table, which when you originally look at it can be kind of difficult or look kind of difficult, but when you get down to it, it's pretty easy. My table matches up x's with y's, so I can rewrite those as points with coordinates. So for instance, one point would be negative 1, 4. The next point would be 0, 2. The next point would be 1, 0. 2, negative 2. 3, negative 1. So I can write those out as points because I know how to find the slope when I'm given 2 points. So I'm going to find my slope. I'm just going to use these first 2 points here. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which in this case would be 2 minus 4 over 0 minus negative 1. When I simplify that, I'll get negative 2 over positive 1, so my slope is going to be negative 2. The next thing I need to do is figure out my y-intercept. We know that our y-intercept is where the x is equal to 0. So if you look at the table, when x is 0, y is 2. So I know that my y-intercept is going to be 2. So when I write my equation out, my y equals mx plus b equation, I can write y equals negative 2 x plus 2. So my m, or my slope, came from right here, and my y-intercept is right here. So the directions that show that the table represents a function, then write the equation to the function. We did that. I also left a graph on here just so you can practice graphing this equation. So graph this equation we just came up with, and then on the bottom there's some review prompts for you.